Hello, Bobcats, and welcome to this special edition of The Sage. I'm not Brady Caskey.
And I am Brady Caskey. We've got a lot on our plates today, so I hope you saved room for this post-spooktacular edition of The Sage.
Yesterday was Halloween.
You mean today is Halloween?
No, Brady, they're watching this tomorrow, so yesterday is Halloween.
No, yesterday was yesterday. That means yesterday from today is not tomorrow, it's yesterday.
Okay. You know what? Here's Maxwell Davis with the annual Student and Teacher Halloween Costume Contest.
Yesterday, yes, Brady, it was yesterday. Both the students and teachers came dressed to impress for this year's Halloween costume contest. The winners of the student contest was a team costume with Jimmy Becker and Jacob Renner dressed as the Messiah and the Pope. We caught up with them for an explanation of their costumes.
Hey, we're like a holy duo. Like, he's like the Pope and I'm the Lord and Savior.
Moving over to the teachers' annual costume contest, Daniel Kramer was chosen for best overall costume, while Miss Bachman was chosen for most creative, and the Avid team was chosen for the best group costume.
I just don't get how yesterday is Halloween when today is Halloween, but if they're watching it tomorrow, it won't be today, it'll be yesterday.
Okay, Brady, we'll talk about this later. For now, why don't you inform the rest of Sage Creek on fire safety around Carlsbad?
Sounds like a plan. An evacuation plan. I'm out here in the Calavera Hills. Behind me you see Sage Creek High School. That's where over 1,200 students go to get their education every day. It's pretty hot out here. If I take a look at my nifty weather app, it says we're cruising around a temperature of 91 degrees. Well, follow me over here. This is where the real problem lies. If you take a look, all this right here, this is all dry brush. Really, the entire canyon I'm surrounded by is full of it. And as temperatures rise, so does the risk for wildfires.
The brush by Sage Creek, it's getting drier as obviously the precipitation has been less over the spring and summer, so the actual brush is drying out, which causes a higher incidence of ignition and hopefully no wildfires in the area, but you can never be too certain.
The city of Carlsbad at any one time has about 25 firefighters working, spread across 6 fire stations with 8 engines. They are ready to respond to fires in the Carlsbad area, but the best way to fight fires is to prevent them from happening in the first place.
There's the simple ones that all of us should know. I mean, not to play with matches and stuff like that. If you're going to have campfires, please have them in designated areas where you have fire rings. We shouldn't be having any fires out in those areas that you're talking about, like in the Sage Creek and Calavera Hills area. There's no reason to have any fire out there. So, you know, illegal fireworks and other things that people get into, those wouldn't be the places to be playing with those types of things.
For more information on how to stay fire safe, go to carlsbadca.gov, click the City Services tab, then click Fire. This has been Brady Caskey reporting for The Sage. Thank you to the Carlsbad Fire Department and the men and women who risk their lives to keep us safe.
Now let's send over to Jade Hoon with a mini twist on this week's important announcements in sports.
This next week is fully packed with Tacky Tourist Day on Thursday and Preppy Day on Friday. Also this Friday, will you make the cut with Jordan Eckhoff? The first 10 people to sign up will cut off at least 8 inches of their hair to donate to the Pantene Beautiful Links. This Saturday is Sage Creek's first dance of the year. Fall formal at the California Center for the Arts from 7 to 10. And don't forget to set your clocks back on November 5th because daylight savings starts. Lastly, make sure to check out the Winter Dance Show on November 8th and 9th at the CAC. Now for sports, there are 2 field hockey games coming up. Today at 4:45, they have a game at Torrey Pines High School. And on Tuesday, November 7th, field hockey has their senior night at Sage Creek against Del Norte at 4 p.m. That's all you need to know for this upcoming week. This has been Jade Huynh with your announcements and sports. Now back to the anchors.
If you have any outstanding detentions, Brady, make sure to serve them today at lunch. This is the last opportunity to do so before final ticket sales on Friday.
As some of you may have noticed, the library is down 1 study room.
Here's Maxwell Davis with the why.
Recently, Mr. Morales relocated his office to the library.
So one of the main reasons I wanted to move out here to the library is, the bottom line is to be closer to our student activity, be more centralized on campus, and to be accessible to our student body and our teachers. So one of my big goals this year is to be out of my office space, and so I want to shoot for at least the equivalent of 2 full days out of my office. For me, this is my new home until the next venture of how I can get more creative and how I can connect more with students and staff. But for this academic year, this is my permanent home. Because I'm more accessible, I've had way more contact with students and people just popping into my office and wanting to have a quick conversation, problem-solving session.
Ms. Asker also gave her input on how students have reacted to the change.
Some students are surprised. Certainly there's a lot better behavior back in that corner, not as much goofing around, not as much noise or throwing things in that corner.
This has been Maxwell Davis reporting for The Sage.
I'm glad to see Mr. Morales is warming up nicely to his new location in the library.
To end off our show, we have a long-awaited and highly anticipated returning segment of Fiebs and Keys. Are you ready, Brady?
Of course I am. This is gonna rock your world.
I think it's crystal clear this won't be the last of your puns.
Welcome to Fiebs and Keys. Physics.
Welcome everybody to another edition of Fiebs and Keys. Today we're going to be talking about the science behind crystals and how to make crystals at home. And so what I'd like to do is start off with a very simple one. You may have heard of rock candy before. Mr. Fiebs, have you ever made rock candy before?
No, but I've eaten a lot of candy in my life.
Very good. He's halfway there. Let's talk about how to make rock candy. Over here what we've done, we've looked up the solubility of sugar, which is sucrose, and we found that 180 grams of sugar will happily and readily dissolve in 500 milliliters of water. This is going to create a saturated solution. So, over here, Mr. Fiebs, we have given him 200 grams of nothing but the finest sugar you can find, and we're going to dissolve that in exactly 500 milliliters of water.
So I just dumped this in.
Yeah, let's do it carefully though. Let's avoid what happened last time. We'll talk about that later.
I have a question. What do you call a dead chemist?
I don't know.
What do you do with a dead chemist?
If you can't helium,
you bury him.
Very good.
All right, so I'm pouring this in.
Excellent job, Mr. Fiebs. Now,
I gotta get it all in there.
Let's make this a little snazzy. Do you want to color this one up a little bit?
So, I like purple.
Purple?
I like turtles.
Ooh, this is going to be pretty. Okay, so what we have going on here, the sugar is going to take a little bit of time to dissolve. Notice the little swirly bar creating the cool tornado of the color. But in order to create the rock candy, we need to create what's called a super saturated solution. So we're going to let this heat up on the hot plate, or at home you could do this on your stove. And we want to let the water evaporate until we lose about 100 to 200 mils of water. We're going to reduce the volume of water drastically, and then we're going to come back on our next visit to look at what are called the seed crystals in our supersaturated solution. And then we'll talk about part 2 on how to form the rock candy that you can actually eat, or Fiebs is actually going to eat.
Sorry for leaving you guys on such a cliffhanger.
No, Brady. I guess you guys will have to tune in next week for part 2 of Fiebs and Keys Crystal Edition.
Well, sadly, Bobcats, that's all we have for this week's spooktacular show.
Don't forget to download the Sage News app and turn on push notifications.
And make sure to head over to thesagenews.com for all the news stories. Thanks for watching. I'm not Kylie Valency.
And I am Kylie Valency.
And this is The Sage.